Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, while Bitcoin is still playing out the short-term warning signal, we are getting closer towards confirming a massive warning signal on the larger timeframes. So I'll be talking about that in just a moment, alongside Ethereum, which is still rejecting from this very important resistance, while the price of Solana is continuing to break towards the downside towards my exact bearish price target, while the price of XRP is now running into a critical Fibonacci level that we need to pay attention to. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the 4-day Bitcoin price chart, and right now the super trend indicator is still sitting in the green, so technically we're still within a larger bullish trend. And if we're taking a look at this weekly Bitcoin chart, obviously, at least for now, the MACD on the weekly time frame is still looking more bullish than it is bearish, because we've not yet confirmed a new bearish crossover. But with that being said, we're potentially starting to see a bit of a slowdown in the amount of bullish momentum that we've been seeing over the last few weeks for almost a month, because currently the histogram within the MACD indicator is pretty much flat, which is the first sign of a bit of a slowdown. It's similar to what we saw around mid-March 2024. And obviously this is the first red candle on the weekly time frame that we've seen in months, since pretty much the end of March this year. And now technically we still have a little over 2 days from now to actually confirm the weekly candle close, because the weekly candle close confirms at exactly midnight UTC on Sunday night or Monday morning. And so the next couple of days will potentially be crucial for the price of Bitcoin, because we also have a possible bearish engulfing candle here on the weekly time frame, completely engulfing the previous weekly candle. And on top of that starting to show up, we also have a new bearish divergence forming on the weekly time frame. And of course, I've been mentioning this every day for a while now on the channel, but as I've said recently here on the channel, we've not yet technically confirmed the new bearish divergence on the weekly time frame, because we've not yet actually confirmed the lower high in place in the weekly Bitcoin RSI, at least not yet. But with this next weekly candle close in just a couple of days from now, once again, this could possibly be the first confirmation signal to actually confirm this lower high in place in the weekly Bitcoin RSI, which will be one confirmation signal to confirm the new bearish divergence on the weekly time frame. And the last bearish divergence we saw confirm on the weekly Bitcoin chart was this one right here, between these two highs, between the high at March 2024 and the high at December 2024. Obviously we had higher highs in the price confirm and lower highs confirm in the RSI, and what came next was a major pullback for the next couple of months in the price of Bitcoin. And the time before that was of course a small bearish divergence that we actually formed and confirmed around mid 2023 on the weekly time frame, with higher highs in the price and lower highs in the RSI. And what came next after that short-term bearish divergence, at least on the weekly time frame, was a major pullback over the next 1 month, give or take 1 to 2 months. And then the time before that was of course the bearish divergence that basically topped out the 2021 bull run. And so it's important to understand a bearish divergence on the weekly time frame doesn't always confirm a major bear market. Obviously that did happen in 2022, but there was other factors also causing that bear market. So for example, a bearish divergence could potentially just cause a pullback like this, like what we saw around August 2023 approximately, or more recently of course that pullback that we saw during around February and March this year. But either way, of course, a bearish divergence is not good news for the price. Obviously, it's not a bullish signal. As the name suggests, it would be a significant bearish signal to watch out for, potentially for the next few months, if it confirms. Once again, we're still waiting for this next weekly candle close in a couple of days from now. And anytime I mention these sort of warning signals on this channel, I do get a lot of negative comments on these videos saying, why am I talking about bearish price action? We want bullish price action. But I have to be realistic. I have to keep it real and honest with you here on the channel, unlike a lot of other crypto channels out there, and point out these potential warning signals as they are potentially confirming. And that's exactly what I did here on the channel near the beginning of this year when we first confirmed this bearish divergence right here, telling you we're most likely going to see a major slowdown for the next few months. And obviously that played out as I talked about throughout February and March. And so I'm just giving you a heads up in advance that that could likely happen again in the next couple of months if we first confirm this signal in the next few days. But with that being said, take taking a look at this 3-day Bitcoin price chart, and obviously for now, we're continuing to lose momentum in the shorter term, obviously starting to pull back in the 3-day Bitcoin RSI, losing some momentum in the 3-day Bitcoin MACD, as I talked about recently here on the channel over the last few days. And so keep in mind, we still currently are finding a lot of resistance around that all-time high breakout level at roughly around 110,000, give or take. And if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin price chart, once again, we have that resistance at around 110,000. And of course, I would expect resistance at the all-time high at close to 112,000. And I'd also expect some more resistance based on previous support here, flipping into new resistance at around 107,000. And as for support, we're currently running into a small amount of support at just underneath 105,000, close to 105,000. And below that, we have some major support at 102,000. And now, technically speaking, when it comes to the trend on the daily time frame, for as long as the price of Bitcoin is holding above these lows at around 102,000, technically we can still remain within this bullish trend. For all we know, this could just be another pullback, a short-term cool-off during the bullish trend, like what we saw just here, for example, or just here, for example. But if we start to see a break below this point on the price chart, around 101 to 102,000, especially with daily candle closes below that level, that would be a strong bearish signal, bearish price structure, pointing towards a possible trend reversal and basically ending this bullish trend. But either way, whether or not we hold this level of support, of course, in the immediate short term, we're technically still playing out this bearish divergence on the 12-hour time frame, as I've been saying for pretty much every day over the last 1 week or so, because like I've been saying, we've not yet technically confirmed any invalidation signals to invalidate this bearish divergence, because at least for now, obviously the RSI is still forming lower highs and lower lows, effectively a bearish trend in the 12-hour Bitcoin RSI, which is a sign of weakness for the price of Bitcoin. And so obviously not much has changed over the last few days. We're still seeing weakness, as I've been talking about for the last few days once again. And so we're likely going to see this continue, at least in the immediate short term for the time being. But for the bulls out there, technically, once again, we can still remain within this larger bullish trend for as long as we're still holding above these lows, as I just explained earlier. And if we're taking a look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, of course, one of the reasons as to why we've seen this pullback more recently is to wipe out a bunch of liquidity that was sitting just below the price of Bitcoin. And so first of all, I warned about a few days ago here on the channel that we had a lot of liquidity building at around 105 to 106,000, and we've now wiped out that level of liquidity. And just over the last 1 day, we built more liquidity at around 104,000, which is now wiped out. And so we don't really have a major level of liquidity just below the price of Bitcoin here, but we still have some starting to grow at around 103,000 and also at around 101,000. And of course, we still have that area of liquidity at roughly around all-time highs, around 112,000, give or take. But keep in mind, of course, this bearish divergence is still active. The shorter term momentum is showing signs of weakness, as I've been explaining here on the channel. And so just because we have this liquidity at 112,000, obviously we cannot ignore all of these other factors that are, of course, influencing the price in the shorter term. And so with all of that being said, what is my trading strategy for the price of Bitcoin? And well, right now, obviously, I'm still in the swing trade long position, which I entered over a month ago now on the channel. And every day since then, I've been saying we are in a bullish trend and continue to expect this larger bullish trend. And of course, during this larger bullish trend, this swing trade here, we can see pullbacks along the way in the shorter term. That's perfectly normal to see. But like I just said earlier a few minutes ago, if we break below these lows right here at around 101,000, give or take, that will be the point of invalidation. That will be the point where we're starting to form lower lows and breaking the trend, breaking the bullish price structure. And so we can see here that my stop loss is sitting just below that point right there, which basically means if we start to break down, start to break the bullish price structure, the bullish trend, essentially they'll just automatically exit me out of the trade at that stop loss in profits. And so considering where my stop loss is sitting at right now, and considering my current realized profits that I've already taken out of the position, even in the worst case scenario here for this long position, if the price just crashes, essentially I'll still make over 10,000 USD from this one small trade. And so hopefully, if you've been following along with this channel over the last few weeks, over the last 1 month, you should be making some decent money here on this swing trade. And of course, I have been talking about short-term short positions, specifically for Solana Solana over the last few days, which I'll talk about later in the video. But for now, this is my current trading strategy. It's not really changed all that much over the last one day for Bitcoin at least. And of course, if you want to get set up ready to go to take the next trading opportunity in the price of any crypto, personally, I'm taking this trade right here over on 2bit. So I'll make sure to leave a link to 2bit below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link, you can get some massive trading bonuses that are only available using that link. And also, in case you're wondering, 2bit is a no KYC exchange, which means you can access it from basically any country in the world without needing any KYC. But as always, check your local regulations when it comes to trading crypto. And for whatever reason, if you don't want 2bit as an exchange, there's also Bitfinex as another exchange out there that I also trade on. So I'll also make sure to leave a link to Bitfinex below this video. And if you use that link, it'll take you to this page where you can also claim some massive trading bonuses, like for example, up to 35,000 in USDT, and also deposit bonuses. Like for example, if you deposit $1,000, you get a $200 bonus, but only if you use that link to Bitfinex. And so if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well get set up ready to go to take the next trading opportunity using the links below these videos, once again, to get these extra bonuses. And in case you're wondering, Bitfinex is also a no KYC exchange. But with that being said, taking a look at Ethereum on the daily time frame, and currently Ethereum is still rejecting and struggling a lot in this exact price range that I've been warning about since before we saw these perfect rejections here. And so obviously, if you've been watching my videos over the last few weeks, you'll know about this very strong area of resistance still sitting in between around 2.7k to 2.8k. And even though we started to see a potential breakout above 2.7k, once again, that is not the only level of resistance. It's an area in between 2.7 to 2.8k. So while a lot of others out there were saying we've finally seen that breakout above 2.7k, obviously here on this channel, I've been warning that is the area to pay attention to. And so far, we're still struggling in that exact area. But if we were to actually confirm daily candle closes at least above 2.8k and actually hold that ideally as support, in that situation, the next target would be sitting at around 3.2k to 3.3k. But obviously for now, we've not yet confirmed any breakout here. We're still finding a lot of resistance at this golden pocket. And in the meantime, the price is basically in a bit of a sideways price range, bouncing around between this support and this resistance, lacking momentum in the immediate short term. And this support line is still sitting at roughly around 2.4k. And if we're taking a look at the shorter term, looking at the 6-hour time frame, technically speaking, just a matter of hours ago, we have now seen one 6-hour candle close below this ascending line of support, which was sitting at around 2580 approximately, so just below 2.6k. And so technically speaking, this is now one confirmation signal to confirm the bearish break towards the downside here, towards this bearish price target, which is technically now in play now that we've broken below this support. And this bearish price target is sitting at approximately just above 2.2k, around 2250. But obviously between now and then, we have other levels of support to focus on. Like I just said, once again, a lot of support at around 2.4k, and potential short-term support at around 2.5k, and also at just under 2.4k, around 2370 to 2380, based on these lows right here. And as always, the point of invalidation for this price target, for this bearish break, would be if we confirm a breakout back above the point of the breakdown. So if we, for example, confirm candle closes back above roughly 2.6k, in that situation, that would invalidate this bearish break, invalidate the pattern, and invalidate the price target. And as always, not financial advice, but just an example of a potential trading strategy when it comes to a break like this would be, for example, to open a short position now that we've broken below support, activating the bearish price target with a stop loss on the other side of the point of invalidation in case we actually invalidate the break. Obviously, that will just take a small loss and close the trade in order to avoid further losses. And then when it comes to take profit points, personally, I like to take profits around key levels of support, and of course closer towards the price target as well in the case of a short position. So basically slightly reducing the size of the trade at each of these levels. And personally, when it comes to trades like this, I like to move my stop loss at least up towards break even, and ideally moving my stop loss further and further into profits as the trade moves further into profits, which in the case of a short position would be lower prices. But remember, that is just an example of a trading strategy that usually works out pretty well, not a 100% guarantee, but usually pretty well, as it's just done for Solana, which I'll talk about in just a moment. But as always, not financial advice because I don't know your personal financial situation. But with that being said, taking a look at the price of Solana on the daily time frame, technically we're now starting to break below this support line for this sideways sideways price range, which was sitting at roughly around 165 to 167, give or take. So obviously now that we're breaking below that level of support, that is a bearish signal, at least for the coming days or possibly weeks. And the next support to watch out for is, first of all, at around 153, give or take. We do have some support there based on previous resistance flipping into new support. And below that, we have some major support at around 143 to 145 approximately. And overall, I expect continued weakness in the shorter term for the next few days, possibly weeks, for the price of Solana, especially while Bitcoin is cooling off like this. Ultimately, don't expect significant bullish price action anytime soon for a lot of the altcoin market while Bitcoin is looking like this. But if we're taking a look at the shorter term Solana price charts, looking at the 4-hour time frame, obviously right now the price of Solana is continuing this bearish break towards the downside, towards the bearish price target, which I've been warning about every day here on the channel since the moment we confirmed a break below this ascending line of support. And so first of all, that line of support in this break was at approximately $174. And then first of all, we confirmed a few candle closes to the downside, technically confirming the break towards the downside and activating the price target. And then after that confirmed break, we actually came back up for a retest, flipping previous support into new resistance, which is a second confirmation signal and obviously bearish price structure. And so exactly as I've been saying over the last few days since these higher prices, I've been saying the trading strategy for Solana in the short term is to short Solana. I've been saying expect more bearish price action in the short term now that we're still playing out this bearish price target. And ever since I started to flip bearish in the short term at these higher prices, a lot of people have been commenting very negative comments here on the channel saying I should not be bearish and we're looking extremely bullish, telling me that I'm going to be wrong and there's no way we could possibly see any bearish price action here. But obviously now we've started to see the bearish price action that I've been predicting and warning about over the last few days. And so I just hope that at least some of you out there that have been following these trading strategies should be making some good profits right now. Yes, profits. In case you're new to all of this, you can make a bunch of profits while the price is dumping using things like short positions, for example. And so at this point in a potential short position here, let's just say if you took this trade either at the initial break towards the downside or at the retest, if you took the short position here, personally in my situation, I would like to have my stop loss at least at break even, ideally moving my stop loss now into profits in this situation. And also in this situation, I would have already taken some profits around this key support right here, not closing the entire trade, just slightly reducing the size of the trade. And then of course, taking more profits as we approach the price target, which is still sitting at around $152, give or take. And so from the point of the breakdown here, or from this retest, let's just say if you entered roughly around here to where we are right now, that's around an 8% move towards the downside as of recording this video. So just for example, with a 10x leverage short position, that would be an 80% profit that you would be making while everyone else out there is losing money. And so this is why it is important to subscribe to this channel with notifications turned on so that you don't miss out on any of these important update videos where I'm sharing these trading strategies pretty much every video here. And remember, get set up ready to go using the links below this video to those exchanges if you want to get those massive bonuses that are only available using those links to those crypto exchanges. And just a heads up, we're potentially seeing the same opportunity that I talked about over the last few days, but right now for Ethereum. So just keep that in mind. And so if you perhaps missed the Solana trade, we could possibly see something similar for Ethereum. We're still possibly just in the retest phase, about to possibly confirm a retest, but ideally we need to see this actually confirm. If we start to reject here for Ethereum, that would be a very good signal to open a short position. As always, not financial advice, I'm just sharing potential trading strategies that have been working quite nicely. And with that being said, taking a look at XRP on the daily time frame, and obviously right now the price of XRP is continuing the short-term pullback from this major area of resistance, that significant rejection that we saw in between around $2.56 to $2.62. So once again, we still have strong resistance there, and I would also expect more resistance at 244, more resistance at around 230 to 234. And as for support, I would now expect support at around $2.10 to $2.15. And so far, as of recording this video, we've exactly bounced from pretty much around $2.15 in that area of support. And that area of support that I just mentioned is mainly based on previous lows and also this Fibonacci level still sitting at roughly around 214 to 215. And so for now, that is the key support to focus on for the price of XRP. XRP, but if we start to see daily candle closes, especially below around $2.10, in that situation, the next support is at around $2.05. But if we start breaking below 205 and especially below $2, honestly, that'll be very bad news for the following days or weeks. But keep in mind, we're still possibly forming a massive inverse head and shoulders pattern for the price of XRP on the daily time frame, because for now, obviously, we already have a left shoulder ahead and we're currently potentially in the middle of forming a right shoulder. But I want to make this clear, at least for now, that possible inverse head and shoulders pattern is not confirmed. It is not playing out, at least right now. And so in order to actually confirm that potential massive bullish price pattern, setting up a significant bullish price target, in order to actually confirm that, we need to see a bounce very soon. At some point in the next few days, we need to start bouncing and then come back up towards the golden pocket and then see a confirmed breakout above around 262 to actually confirm this significant bullish price pattern. And so that's just something to pay attention to in case it continues to form. But once again, as I've been saying throughout this video and many times recently here on the channel, while Bitcoin is looking like this, seeing a short-term cool off, of course, that is not going to be helpful for a lot of the altcoin market. And so overall, while Bitcoin is showing signs of weakness in the short term, expect weakness for a lot of these altcoins as well, XRP included. And with that being said, taking a look at the price of Chainlink on the daily time frame, and right now, as I'm recording this video, the price of Chainlink is starting to break below very important support, which was sitting in between around 1490 to 1550. And now, technically speaking, we're still waiting for this confirmation here. We're still waiting for the candle close, but at the current rate, it is looking quite likely we're going to see the daily candle close below that area, because as I've recorded this video, it's only in a couple of hours from now. And so technically speaking, this is bearish price structure beginning to form again for the first time in months. Basically, we haven't really seen bearish price structure on the daily Chainlink chart since around March to early April. And so this is a sign telling us that we're potentially going to see continued weakness in the coming days or weeks for the price of Chainlink, possibly longer, possibly even a month, but at least the next few days or weeks, we're likely going to see more weakness here, especially if we confirm this daily candle close below the golden pocket and flip that into new resistance. And so as for other levels of support and resistance to watch out for, first of all, I would expect support in between roughly $13 to $13.50. So in the lower $13 area, expect support around there. And we do have this Fibonacci level at around $12.80. And below that, we do have a small amount of support at $12.20. And below that, the next significant support is down towards roughly $10. And so those are the levels of support to focus on. And as for resistance, I'd now expect resistance at this previous golden pocket here, still sitting in between 1490 to 1550, but now acting as resistance. And above that, we have significant resistance at around 1750. And so overall, those are the things that I'm watching out for the price of Chainlink in the shorter term. And my expectations in the short term, mostly continued weakness for a lot of the market, especially while Bitcoin continues its cool off. But remember, as crypto traders, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if we're seeing bearish price action. That does not mean bad news. That means we can still make money in the crypto market using things like short positions, for example, to actually profit during bearish price action, just like this. And like I've been saying over the last few days for Solana, sharing this trading opportunity. And once again, if you want to get set up ready to go to take the next trading opportunity, get set up ready to go using those links below this video. If you want to claim those massive bonuses that are only available using those links. And if you want to actually know how you can trade crypto like what I'm doing right here to make a lot of easy profits in the market, no matter what the price is doing, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen, because the video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.